Have you ever invited someone into your home, believing their charm was the key to unlocking a night of passion, only to realize too late that their smile concealed a storm of addiction and violence waiting to erupt? What if the man who seemed like your perfect match was secretly arming himself with your own liquor, turning your sanctuary into a battlefield where escape meant outsmarting a monster in the dark? This is the harrowing true story of one woman's third date on Tinder that spiraled from flirtatious promise into a fight for survival. A tale that unfolded in the quiet suburbs of an unnamed American city in early 2024, where the glow of phone screens hides horrors far worse than any ghosting. Picture this. Bedroom Bellamy, as we'll call her to protect her privacy, a vibrant woman in her late 20s with a career that demanded her sharp wit and unyielding spirit, had grown weary of the endless parade of lackluster matches. Tinder had become her reluctant ritual, swiping through profiles under the harsh fluorescent light of her kitchen table after long days at the office, her cat curling at her feet like a silent guardian. She craved connection, someone who could match her energy, make her laugh until her sides ached, and perhaps, just perhaps, see the fire in her eyes that burnout had dimmed. Then came Chase. His profile was a siren's call, tall, broad-shouldered with a jawline that could cut glass, photos of him hiking rugged trails with a backpack slung low, his bio a clever quip about trading spreadsheets for sunsets. He messaged first, not with the banal "hey" that made her roll her eyes, but with a reference to her favorite indie band, the kind of detail that made her pause mid-swipe. Their texts flowed like a well-aged whiskey, smooth, warming, laced with inside jokes that had her grinning at her phone during meetings. He was funny, disarmingly so, with stories of botched camping trips that painted him as adventurous, yet endearingly clumsy. Smart, too. He quoted philosophers casually, as if discussing the weather, and shared insights on books she'd been meaning to read. By the end of the first week, the anticipation buzzed in her veins like caffeine on an empty stomach. Their first date was at a cozy bistro downtown, the air thick with the scent of garlic and fresh bread, fairy lights twinkling overhead like hesitant stars. Chase arrived right on time, his button-down shirt hugging his frame just right, a faint cologne of sandalwood wafting as he pulled out her chair. Conversation danced effortlessly, her latest work drama, his tales from a recent conference where he'd networked like a pro. Laughter came easy, the kind that bubbles up unbidden, and when he brushed her hand reaching for the breadbasket, a spark ignited, innocent, electric. But even then, tiny fissures appeared, invisible cracks in the facade. Midway through appetizers, he excused himself to the bathroom, not once, but twice, lingering longer than seemed necessary. She dismissed it as nerves, perhaps a touch of indigestion from the spicy wings they'd shared. The bill came, split evenly with a wink, and as they stepped into the cool evening air, he leaned in for a kiss that lingered just long enough to promise more. Her heart raced on the drive home, replaying his smile, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners. Texting that night sealed it. Can't wait for round 2. Your trouble. In the best way. Round 2 arrived a week later, this time at a lively tapas bar with exposed brick walls and the hum of live guitar strumming in the background. Chase was even more magnetic, his stories animated, gestures broad and inviting. They clinked glasses of sangria, the tart fruit bursting on her tongue as they delved deeper. Childhood dreams, fears of vulnerability, the quiet ache of past heartbreaks. Again, the bathroom breaks, 3 this time, each stretching minutes into what felt like eternities. She caught herself glancing at her watch, wondering if he was okay, but he returned each time with that boyish grin, blaming it on one too many olives. The night ended with a walk under street lamps casting golden pools on the sidewalk, his arm around her waist, whispers of future adventures. She felt seen, desired, the loneliness that had gnawed at her edges softening under his gaze. By now, trust had woven its threads tight. He knew her address from a casual mention of her neighborhood, her favorite takeout spots, even the quirky habit of leaving Post-its on her fridge for motivation. The third date loomed like a beacon. Emboldened by the chemistry, she invited him over. No public neutral ground this time, but her own space. A cozy two-bedroom apartment filled with plants that thrived against odds and shelves groaning under books. She'd spent the afternoon tidying, lighting candles that flickered with vanilla and amber, cueing a playlist of sultry R&B to set the mood. Chase arrived with a bottle of red, his eyes darkening with intent as he crossed the threshold. The door clicked shut behind him, and for a moment, everything was perfect. Wine poured into stemless glasses, bodies drawing closer on the couch, kisses that deepened from tentative to hungry. Her skin tingled under his touch, the world narrowing to the heat between them. But then, the shift. Subtle at first, a slur in his words, a glaze over his eyes that hadn't been there minutes before. "Just a sip to loosen up," he murmured, but she hadn't seen him drink from the bottle he'd brought. Confusion flickered, but desire drowned it out. They moved to the bedroom, clothes shedding like old skins, the air thick with anticipation. That's when the red flags, once whispers, roared to life. His hands, once gentle, gripped too tight. His breath, hot and ragged, carried a boozy edge sharper than the wine. She laughed it off at first, teasing about hidden flasks, but his response was a low chuckle that didn't reach his eyes. "Bathroom break," he said abruptly, disentangling and vanishing down the hall. Minutes ticked by, 5, 10, her mind wandering to the living room clock. When he returned, the transformation was complete. Pupils dilated, movements jerky, a feral edge to his smile. The intimacy turned invasive. He ignored her murmured hesitations, pressing forward with the insistence that bordered on aggression. "Stop," she said, firmer now, pushing at his chest, but he was a wall of muscle, fueled by something darker than lust. Panic clawed up her throat as his weight pinned her, words slurring into demands, hands roaming without consent. This wasn't passion, this was violation, a nightmare uncoiling in the sheets she'd chosen for comfort. Her mind raced, survival instincts kicking in where strength failed. He outweighed her by 50 pounds, his intoxication rendering pleas futile. Heart pounding like a war drum, she forced a smile, voice steady despite the terror. "Hey, let's slow down. Cuddle first? I want to savor this." Flattery, distraction, the oldest tricks. He paused, ego stroked, mumbling agreement as she guided him to lie back. The bed creaked under him, and within seconds his snores rumbled, body slackening into oblivion. She bolted upright, chest heaving, every nerve alight with adrenaline. Wrapping herself in a robe, she crept to the living room, phone in hand, but curiosity, or perhaps the need for proof, drew her to the security camera app linked to her fridge. There, in grainy night vision, the truth unfolded like a gut punch. During those bathroom breaks, Chase hadn't been relieving himself. No, he'd been raiding her kitchen, uncapping bottles from her modest liquor collection. Vodka swiped from a holiday gift, whiskey poured straight from the bottle into a tumbler he'd pocketed from her cabinet. Gulp after gulp, hidden sips that explained the rapid descent into drunken fury. The footage captured it all. His furtive glances toward the bedroom door, the guilty swipe of his mouth, the empty bottles now littering her counter like spent shells. Nausea roiled as pieces clicked. The first date's absences, the second's prolongation. He wasn't just a drinker. He was a functioning alcoholic, fresh from a halfway house, his record a shadow of DUIs and denied responsibilities. Tinder's algorithm had paired her not with a partner, but a predator using charm as camouflage, her home as his next fix. Trembling, she dialed the non-emergency line, voice cracking as she described the assault, the evidence time-stamped and irrefutable. Officers arrived within the hour, their flashlights slicing the night as they roused him from stupor, cuffing wrists that had bruised her arms. He mumbled denials, eyes bleary with regret or rage. She didn't care which. The apartment, once a haven, felt violated, echoes of his snores haunting the walls. In the days that followed, therapy sessions unpacked the trauma, Friends rallied with takeout and tears, her cat the steadfast companion through sleepless nights. She deleted Tinder, the app's red flame now a symbol of betrayal, and swore off invites until trust could rebuild brick by brick. But life, resilient as ever, turned the page. Months later, at a coffee shop poetry reading, she met someone real. No profiles, no filters. He listened without agenda, laughed at her scars-turned stories, and slowly, the shadows receded. 2.5 years on, they're building a life, her strength forged in that night's fire. Yet the what-ifs linger. What if she'd poured that wine herself? What if the camera hadn't captured the truth? This story isn't just hers. It's a siren song for every swiper, a reminder that behind the perfect pose lurks the potential for peril. Sleep tight, but check your locks and your liquor cabinet twice. As the clock strikes midnight in this retelling, consider the fragility of first impressions, how a single swipe can summon storms you never saw brewing. Chase's face fades into anonymity, but the lesson etches eternal. Trust your gut when the breaks feel too long, when the charm curdles into something sour. In the quiet hours before dawn, when doubts creep like fog, remember Bedroom to Bellamy's courage, not just in survival, but in reclaiming joy from the jaws of horror. Her tale whispers across the digital divide, a cautionary breeze. The man who seems perfect might be pouring poison in the shadows, waiting for the moment your guard slips. And in that slip, worlds shatter. But from the shards, warriors rise. Have you ever poured your heart into messages with a stranger online, dreaming of forever after hours of soul-bearing talks, only to wake up to a demand for $8,000 that rips the veil from a meticulously woven lie? What if the man pledging marriage without ever meeting was a ghost in the machine, his affections a calculated trap snapping shut on your vulnerability? This is the chilling true chronicle of Nella's entanglement on Our Time. Calm, a senior dating site that promised second chances but delivered a masterclass in digital deception, set against the vast distances between Logan, Utah, and the illusory streets of Flagstaff, Arizona, beginning in the crisp January of 2022. Nella, 62 and widowed for half a decade, had navigated grief's labyrinth with grace, her days filled with gardening in her sun-dappled backyard and evenings curled with novels that whisked her to far-off shores. Loneliness, that quiet thief, had prompted her to dip a toe into online dating, choosing Our Time for its focus on mature connections. No frenzied swipes, just profiles rich with life stories. Her own was simple yet poignant, a photo of her laughing at a family barbecue, bio lines about her love for road trips, and her late husband's quirky habit of whistling show tunes while cooking. Then, like a plot twist in one of her books, came Mark, or so he called himself. His profile beamed reliability, silver fox handsome with salt and pepper hair, photos of him at golf courses, and with grandkids on his knee, a bio touting his engineering career and passion for classic cars. His first message landed softly. Your smile reminds me of sunrises over the Grand Canyon, warm and full of promise. What's your favorite hidden gem in Utah? Flattery, yes, but laced with specificity that made her pause, heart fluttering like a girl again. Their chats bloomed overnight, 4 to 5 hours daily, a digital lifeline bridging the 80 miles between them. He shared tales of corporate climbs and quiet regrets, vulnerabilities that mirrored her own, the ache of empty nests, the what-ifs of roads not taken. She confessed her hesitations about dating post-loss, and he responded with empathy that felt like balm. We're both survivors, Nella. Let's write a new chapter together. Red flags fluttered faintly at first, dismissed as modern woes. His perpetual business trips that kept meetings at bay, excuses piling like autumn leaves, client crises in Denver, conferences in Phoenix. She offered to drive the distance, tires eager for the open road, but he demurred, voice calls warm yet evasive, video chats plagued by poor connections. Still, the connection deepened. By week 3, compliments cascaded like confetti. You're the light I've been missing, he'd type. emojis of hearts punctuating professions that stirred dormant dreams. Week 4 brought the bombshell. Over a late-night call, his tone solemn yet fervent, he spoke of marriage. "I see us, Nella. Rings exchanged under cottonwoods, your hand in mine at sunset." No face-to-face, no shared coffee, yet the words wrapped around her like a vow, stirring tears and tentative joy. Doubt nipped at her heels. Too soon, too intense. But his stories checked out on Google. A LinkedIn profile with endorsements, news clippings of industry events. She pushed forward, envisioning a future where solitude yielded to shared suppers. Then, the morning after a particularly tender exchange about childhood homes, her inbox harbored a viper, an email from an unfamiliar address, time-stamped from a hotel in Tucson, pleading for $8,000. "Emergency surgery," it read. "Complications from a fall. Need it wired today to cover bills. You're my rock, Nella. This will pass, and we'll be together sooner." Shock rooted her to the chair, coffee growing cold as she reread the plea, attachments of supposed medical forms blurring before her eyes. Refusal tumbled from her lips in a reply. "This feels wrong, Mark. Let's talk first." But the guilt trip followed swift. Voicemails thick with feigned pain, texts weaving tales of hospital loneliness. Her imagined presence his only solace. Days blurred into a siege. He alternated apologies with urgency, painting pictures of their thwarted wedding, her hesitation as the villain in their love story. She wired nothing, instincts screaming amid the emotional whirlwind, but the back and forth stretched weeks, each message a hook in her resolve. Sleepless nights found her pacing lamplight halls, phone clutched like a talisman, replaying conversations for cracks. One evening, a slip. His hospital photo background mismatched a stock image online, the final thread unraveling. Heart-leaden, she confronted him, blocking numbers and emails in a flurry of finality. Silence descended, heavy as winter snow, leaving her hollowed trust eviscerated by the ghost she'd loved. The scam's mechanics haunted her research, catfishing rings preying on the widowed, scripts honed to exploit empathy, funds vanishing into ether. Our Times reports surged that year, elders like her prime targets in a billion-dollar shadow economy. Yet Nella, forged in loss, refused defeat. A year on, with spring's thaw mirroring her resolve, she ventured to another site, profile updated with wry humor. Survivor of plot twists seeking co-author. Enter Norm, his messages a gentle counterpoint. No rushes, just shared recipes and book recommendations. Their first call spanned hours, voices syncing like old friends, laughter bridging screens. She drove to him for Thanksgiving, the highway unspooling under tires that now carried hope, not haste. At his door, pie in hand, he greeted her with eyes that saw beyond surfaces. Days wove into weeks, family blends seamless, holidays alive with chatter and clinking glasses. He proposed amid turkey and trimmings, ring simple as their bond, and they wed soon after, vows exchanged in a ceremony scented with pine and promise. Blended broods became one, vacations mapped with the care of second chances. Reflecting now, Nella marvels at the pivot, from phantom snare to tangible joy, the scam a scar that toughens rather than breaks. But in quiet moments, when notifications chime, vigilance lingers, a firewall against the next illusion. This tale echoes across generations, a digital age parable. In the glow of screens, affections can fabricate fortresses, crumbling under scrutiny. Sleep may come fitful after such deceptions, dreams stalked by voices that never were. Yet dawn brings agency. Question the shadows. Verify the light. Nella's journey from wire transfer brink to altar's glow affirms resilience's quiet power, turning horror's script into triumph's epilogue. In the vast web of wants, may your threads lead to truth, not traps. Have you ever traveled miles for a promised celebration, heart alight with cultural wonder, only to find the festivities replaced by a locked door and a stranger's insistent pull toward isolation? What if your second date's detour wasn't a whim but a calculated lure into a home where escape demands every ounce of your resolve? This is the bone-chilling true account of a woman's Tinder odyssey gone awry during Chinese New Year circa early 2020s in a bustling East Coast city where festive lanterns masked a descent into dread that still echoes in her nightmares. Our storyteller, let's name her Lena to shield her from echoes, was 29. A marketing whiz with a penchant for spontaneous adventures and a profile that screamed wanderlust. Beach selfies, quotes from Kerouac, a bio-daring matches to keep up. Tinder had been a mixed bag, flirty fizzles, coffee klutzes, but Way's profile sparked genuine intrigue. Mid-30s, lean and sharp-featured, with photos amid cherry blossoms and dim sum spreads, his bio blended poetry and playfulness. Seeking someone to share mooncakes and midnight confessions. His opener? A nod to her travel pics. That shot in Kyoto. Been there. Done that. What's next on your map? Texts ignited. Shared riffs on street food. Debates on the best bubble tea spots. His humor dry as aged pu'er. By date 1, at a noodle house steaming with wontons and whispers, chemistry crackled. He was attentive, eyes locking with hers over steaming bowls. Stories of family festivals painting him as rooted yet restless. Laughter flowed freer than the oolong, ending with a walk where his hand grazed hers, promise hanging in the humid air. Texts post-date? Feverish. You're the plot twist I didn't see coming. Excitement built for round 2, timed serendipitously with Chinese New Year. Fireworks, red envelopes, the city's pulse quickening with tradition. Let's celebrate properly, he texted. I'll show you the real deal. Lanterns, lion dances, my treat. Lena, ever the enthusiast, committed. An hour-long train ride to his neighborhood, outfit curated. Flowy red dress echoing the holiday's luck, hair loose like festival ribbons. The journey hummed with anticipation, playlist of Jay Chu blasting through earbuds, imagination alight with street-side feasts and his arm linked in hers. Station arrived at dusk, throngs buzzing with envelopes and chatter, the air electric with gunpowder and ginger. Wei waited, bouquet of orchids in hand, smile wide as the skyline. But the detour struck immediate. No thrumming markets, no dragon parades. Family first, he said casually, guiding her to his car. Quick stop at home. Dad's eager to meet you. Unease prickled. Too soon, too presumptuous. But holiday magic dulled it, his chatter filling the drive with anecdotes of lunar feasts. The house loomed modest, lanterns strung haphazardly, a faint scent of incense wafting. Inside, his father nodded politely from the kitchen, a shadow of a man with eyes that darted, then vanished with a mumbled excuse. Wei led her upstairs, room sparse, futon, laptop humming, posters of misty mountains. Netflix to kill time, he suggested, door clicking shut behind them. Hours crawled, sitcoms flickering on screen, her perched on the futon's edge, distance a silent barrier. Conversation stuttered, his laughs forced, eyes flicking to the window where fireworks bloomed distant. Red flags mounted, the isolation, the unyielding indoors, her phone's battery dipping as signal waned. Let's go out. See the lights, she urged, voice light but insistent. Visions of revelry clashing with the room's staleness. Reluctance etched his face, but agreement came grudging. Dinner at a nearby spot where dumplings arrived cold, his mood soured by her pushiness. The meal dragged, fortune cookies cracked with hollow snaps, her fortune reading, fortune favors the bold. Irony biting as they headed back. Train loomed critical, last one ticking like a bomb, but the drive veered wrong, not station-bound, but looping to his darkened block. Car halted before the house, engines purred dying to silence, night thick as ink around them. Come in, just for a bit, he murmured, hand on her knee, pressure subtle yet steel. Heart slamming, Lena froze, dashboard glow casting his features gaunt. No, the train. Now, she said, Words edged with steel, mind flashing to headlines of vanishings, the house's maw yawning black. Please looped, her urgency, his wheedling, minutes stretching eternal, sweat beating despite the chill. Finally, concession. Tires peeled toward tracks, station lights a beacon as she bolted, ticket swiped with shaking fingers, collapsing into a seat as rails clattered escape. Home brought sobs, phone autopsy revealing his texts. Sorry if I scared you, meant well. Block ensued, but scars lingered. Therapy unpacked the coercion's chill, friends' arms a bulwark against isolation's echo. Tinder. Deleted, its flame extinguished. Yet seasons turned. A hiking group in 2023 introduced Alex. No apps, just trails and truths. Their bond grew organic. Wedding bells in 2025, ringing joyful. Lena's tale, shared anonymously, warns of detours' dangers, holidays' hidden snares. In sleep's embrace, may her courage guard your swipes, turning potential traps to triumphs. Have you ever set boundaries in bold print on your profile, vowing no hookups or haste, only to have a match trample them with messages that evolve from flirtation to fixation, turning your phone into a portal of unrelenting siege? What if blocking one number births a dozen more, the predator's shadow lengthening until your every notification feels like a footstep in the dark? This is the spine-tingling true saga of Mia's Hinge ordeal in the neon-veined sprawl of Los Angeles in mid-2024, where the city's endless nights amplified a digital stalker's whisper into a roar that blurred screens and streets. Mia, 27 and a freelance illustrator with ink-stained fingers and a spirit as vivid as her murals, had wearied of fleeting flings. Hinge appealed for its prompts, thoughtful icebreakers over mindless swipes, her profile a manifesto. No hookups, no games, seeking depth, coffee dates, and conversations that linger. If that's not you, keep scrolling. Photos captured her essence. Sketching in Griffith Park, laughing at a comedy show, eyes alight with unfiltered joy. Then slithered Connor, profile polished to peril, early 30s, gym honed with a jaw shadowed just so. Prompts touting, adventurer by day, philosopher by night. Photos of surfboards and sunsets. His like hit her. The one thing I'd love to know about you? Prompt with, what's the wildest dream you've chased? And did it catch you? Charm offensive launched. Messages weaving compliments with questions, probing her art, her favorite hidden beaches. Initial exchanges sparkled, shared riffs on LA traffic's absurdities, recommendations for indie galleries. But boundaries asserted early. Love chatting, but I'm clear, no casual stuff. Let's keep it light till we vibe in person. His reply, a thumbs-up emoji, words assuring respect. Totally get it. I'm in for the real thing too. Dates proposed gently, a hike in Runyon Canyon, her counter with a neutral cafe. Acceptance came swift, but the meetup fizzled. Coffee lukewarm, his eyes wandering, conversation veering to X's too soon. Not feeling the spark, she texted post-date, polite unmatch. Silence, then resurgence. A week later, Instagram DM from an unfamiliar handle, his face in the profile pic. Hey, thought we clicked. Give me another shot? Unease stirred, but curiosity replied brief. Appreciate it, but no. The floodgates cracked. Numbers multiplied. Texts from burners pleading second chances. Voicemails husky with feigned remorse. I can't stop thinking about your laugh, Mia. One coffee? Blocks stacked like Jenga, each removal birthing rebirths, his persistence a hydra. Red flags blared, the boundary blindness, the multi-platform creep, messages escalating from sweet to insistent. Why ghost me? I know you're online. Paranoia bloomed, every buzz jolted, shadows in her rear view lengthening on late-night drives home. Culmination crashed one evening. Walking Pico's sidewalks, earbuds in. A figure detached from a lamppost. Connor, hands in pockets, smile too wide. Fancy meeting you here, he drawled, as if coincidence scripted. Heart thunderous, Mia pivoted. This isn't okay, leave me alone. His face twisted, hurt to ire. You're overreacting. I just wanted to talk. The pursuit quickened, her strides lengthening, phone clutched for 911. Alleyways blurred, breaths ragged, until a crowded bodega offered refuge, door slammed as he loomed outside, peering through glass, before vanishing into night. Police reports filed, restraining order sought, but evidence ethereal. Screenshots, logs testifying to the siege. Sleepless weeks followed, curtains drawn, art stalled by trembling hands. Therapy wove safety nets, friends' vigils a shield. Hinge, purged, its prompts now prompts of peril. Rebirth came via a pottery class in 2025. Clay spinning under fingers met Javier's. Gentle, boundary-honoring. Their first date a picnic under oaks, no shadows attached. Engagement followed, a ring etched with vines symbolizing growth from thorns. Mia's whisper to forums warns. Persistence masks predation. Profiles prelude to pursuit. In slumber's hush, let her vigilance veil your ventures, transforming haunts to horizons unbound.